Hello and welcome to a CBK gaming video. Join us as we discuss and review Etherfields by Awaken Realms. So what is Etherfields? Etherfields is a 1 to 4 player cooperative story-driven board game where you take on the role of a dreamer in this weird and wonderful poesque world. Each dreamer has a unique set of skills, whether that's the wild spirit, whether that is the tough guy, the specialist or the gambler. Each has their own card deck, a different skill and their own objective to reach throughout the game. Some of those are slightly easier than the others. However, as you play through the game, you will learn new skills or add to your influence deck. The game itself is played on a beautifully realised board, or if you get the neoprene mat, a beautifully printed mat. The cards are a fantastic print quality, really good quality, and I think it's just right to say that this is an Awaken Realms game, and that comes with certain caveats. It will be high quality, it will have fantastic components, it will have a high level of quality. In my opinion, and I believe in our CBK Gaming's opinion, the best miniatures on the market to date. There are some beautiful miniatures. Games Workshop certainly do some wonderful miniatures, but absolutely, to me, Awaken Realms, from Tainted Grail, Etherfields, their miniatures are a cut above. They are absolutely amazing. Really well realised and different. And that to me is really important.
Yeah. I mean, we've said with other games, some of the artwork I've wanted, I mean, All or Nothing is one of them, that I want their artwork up on the wall. These figures I want on the display shelf. They are just beautiful and such detail in them as well.
Yes, and they really bring the game to life. Some games don't need miniatures. This one is, because of the way that they make the miniatures and the they visualise the game very well, they add to the game, in my opinion.
Yes.
Not every game needs miniatures. Gloomhaven, I think, is a prime example where actually the standees work. Folklore, again, you can buy it cheaper with standees than with miniatures. They all work. This works beautifully with the miniatures, in my opinion. The cards you get are very well crafted, very well written. The components are of a superb quality. So let's park that, because we know that's what you will expect from an Awaken Realms game. The game itself, the mechanics, the way that it's played. So this is a game where you are progressing through several maps. There is a city map or world map.
World dream map, yeah.
And then there is the dream map or the slumber map. They're the same but different. We're not going to have any spoilers in this, so we won't necessarily be explaining too much. The world map is your ability to traverse around the dream world, and that's where you can visit shops or sanctuaries. It's where you come across floors, or you may go into a slumber, which is a sort of shorter dream. But eventually this will lead you to accumulate keys. Once you've had enough keys, you'll be able to unlock a dream. And you'll go into one of these dreams where you'll learn more about your characters, you'll learn more about the world, the things that are hunting you, why they're hunting you. And it's beautifully realised and wonderfully written. When you open the rulebook to find quotes from one of your favourite bands, Dead Can Dance, and quotes from Edgar Allan Poe, one of your favourite authors. That to me, I fell in love with the game as soon as I saw that. There are quotes which are absolutely fantastic and well worth just reading through the rulebook for that alone. As you traverse the map, so it's the cards are split into grids. You will move dependent on your cards. So cards are used to generate movement, actions. Some actions you can do multiple times on a turn. Some you can only do once. The rules are easy once you've got used to them. It is quite a complex game. I would state that this is probably more complex than Tainted Grail. But persevere. Read through those rules. It's easy to play once you've actually got through that level of just reading and understanding. But it can be a little bit daunting, especially if this is one of your first large box games. There are a lot of rules and a lot of obscurities to some of those rules. I have to say that there are some errors in the rulebook. We will post a link to an FAQ that is worth going and having a look at. That tells you where some of these errors can be found. We spent a good 10-15 minutes trying to find some cards which don't exist. They were incorrectly numbered in the storytelling script. So don't fall foul of that. Have a look at the FAQ. Highly recommend that. There are interesting and strange mechanics such as players finding masks. We're not going to give anything away around these masks. They do give you different abilities. They make your character slightly more unique. Some brilliant artwork on there. Overall, what did you think of the gameplay? Now that we've played, we've probably put about 10 hours plus into this game. What do you think?
Now that we've got through the initial learning the rules and the different stages, it's easy to play and it's wonderful. It's got little puzzles in it. And you do need a pen and paper at times as well, which I like when games do that, because it gets the brain going. It's not simply, it's my turn, I do A, B, C, on to the next player. And it's fully cooperative, because some of the dreams and the slumbers are almost a puzzle in themselves. To achieve the goal, you've all got to work together and plan the round of who's going to do what in that turn. And I love little bits like that. And there are, I mean, it's no spoiler because it's in the start of the rules. There are clues to what you need to do on some of the tiles as you're moving around the map. You've got to look at, and it's lovely because you get to investigate, you get to actually look properly at the artwork, because there might be something that sort of gets you go, oh, I know where we've got to go next. And it's wonderful to have to actually look at the artwork and look at the wording, and
Yes, it's important playing this game that you read everything. And when we say everything, we mean those little words that you may overlook on the map cards themselves. They will give you some hints of perhaps where you need to go, what might be turning up. It's very well crafted. And the way that the map changes, so without giving too much away, maps can be altered by certain actions. That alteration is done in a very clever way, and cards can be put on at weird and wonderful angles, and it makes for a really visually different sort of game. And that, as soon as we saw that, absolutely fantastic, really, really well done. I personally think Awaken Realms have knocked it out of the park again. That the gameplay here is really good. They've let themselves down with some errors in the rulebook or the script, but it's forgivable, and they've acknowledged that and put it in the FAQ. There's plenty of companies that don't do that, but we did pay for some of the extras. So the neoprene mat is an extra, the metal keys are extras. They're worth investing in as well. Like the longevity of the game, they increase the longevity of the game,
and the beautiful, outstanding boxes to keep the cards in.
Yes.
There's
So we've We like the gameplay and the mechanics behind it. We think it's a very well constructed game. Why does it belong in somebody's collection? Why would you choose this game?
I say if you're looking for the longevity of a long campaign, this is the type of game you need. This is one that you are going to spend hours going through. But it's not just a gameplay, it's the whole puzzle and the story that's unfolding, and you're constantly trying to find out more information. And that's, if you like a good puzzle and a good mystery, a really good mystery, this is the game.
Yeah, I'm the same. If you like mystery games, if you like cooperative games, if you like a story to be unfolding before your eyes as you play, if you want to explore somewhere a little bit different, a little bit dark and twisted at times, Awaken Realms have written some fantastic stories. They have done in Tainted Grail, they have done here. I really look forward to Nemesis Lockdown. I enjoy Nemesis as well. And
also I like the different stages this goes into, because you've got the Dreamscape map where you're going around the dream world, and that can take sort of an hour or so, just going around collecting what components you need and looking at different parts there, going into slumbers and investigating those, before you then go into the dream, through the dream gate, into the dream, which is then a whole nother section. And that is the main part. I don't want to say it's the main part of the game, because every part is, but that's a big section of it that you can spend a couple of hours in a dream investigating everything here, finding what you need to find out before you wake up and go back to the other map. And I like that it changes throughout. You're not stuck on one map going round and round investigating. There's different phases.
Should also be noted that new mechanics are added as you play the game. I don't believe we've got to every mechanic.
No.
We're only, as I said, 10 hours in. There are many different nuances to this game that you only get to as you make certain choices in the game. That's really well done. We will be doing a review of the Wave 2 products and the expansions that are provided. We will also give an update of playing the full game through to its conclusion, the same as we will do with Tainted Grail, especially with the Wave 2 of Tainted Grail coming out shortly. What do you most enjoy about Etherfields?
Other than just looking at the figures, because I could just lose myself. They're so intricate in the detail that you can lose time just staring at them. It is also the puzzle aspect. It's the way it brings everyone together, because we have one, we only had so many turns to complete, and it was very time sensitive, and it had to be right down to you've got to do this action, you've got to do that one, to work it all out. And having the puzzle element of us all sitting down but having to plan it together to do it. I mean, we enjoy cooperative games, but this one really pulls the team together to do it.
Yes, and I think that then leads into a potential flaw depending on your gaming group. I think if you've got a number of alpha gamer types, they could try and dominate this game, working out the best way of playing it through. I didn't feel that they could do that so easily in Tainted Grail. With this, I don't know, we don't tend to have that problem within our gaming group. Everybody likes to try and succeed by working together, which is fantastic. But I do know, and you have to acknowledge the fact that there is that potential in a game like this, the fact that it's cooperative. A lot of cooperative games fall to that sort of problem, but it would be wrong of us not to mention it.
But it also does depend on what cards you've got in your hand that turn.
Yes.
As to whether you're able to do something. I had one hand where it was I if you want me to, I can do this and I can plough us through to the next bit, and then on the next turn when I had a different hand, it was this is all over to you guys. I haven't got a good hand this time. And I think because that can change so rapidly, I think alpha males are going to be reined in a little bit, because they're going to end up with a hand where they can't do much or do what they want. And yes, they can try and tell the other players, but it's up to you what card you play.
I think there's some other things we need to consider around flaws as well. These are this is nitpicking, criticising.
Yeah.
That's what we're supposed to do. And colour plays a very important role in this game. It identifies the actions that you can take, the type of actions that they are. And we think from our friend's perspective that is colourblind, a number of our friends that are colourblind, that can be a bit awkward, and can be problematic. They do have symbols and shapes that also go along with it, so they've done that, which is great. So I don't think it's a failing of the game. I just think you have to be aware of it. If somebody is colourblind, then they can certainly work things out through the shapes rather than the colours, which is good.
But if you're looking for details in the tiles for a clue, it might be a team effort to, if someone is colourblind, it would be a team effort to describe the tile if they can't see everything. Yeah. But that's what cooperative play is all about.
True. Is there any other flaws that you would think to bring out in this game that you can think of?
I wouldn't say it's a flaw as such, but there is a tutorial which takes you through the first stages of the game. And the rulebook does say read the rules before you go into the tutorial, which you do have to do. But because there are so many mechanics to begin with, which it does get easier, a lot easier once you've got the hang of it, but because there are so many at the start, I did stumble a bit trying to guide us through the initial stages. But I think that's just how the game is, but the tutorial does take you through it. It was just I was expecting, the way the tutorial in Tainted Grail ran, I was expecting it to be the same. And it's not. No. And that is my fault. But if you're expecting Awaken Realms to be in the same, this is how a tutorial is, it's not. Tainted Grail is its own game. This is very different.
I do think they missed a trick. They could have done it in a similar way to Tainted Grail. But it's a different game, and I'm not going to criticise it for that. You're right that the tutorial was different, not as easy to follow as Tainted Grail. I think the rule set in Etherfields is not as easy to follow as Tainted Grail. Overall, personally, I really like this game. I would recommend it to anybody looking for a narrative game, a game where there's something slightly different. It's, people have got bored of zombies or Vikings, want to do something slightly different. Here is something slightly different. You're looking for a game that's got some longevity and some the ability to replay this. So because it uses cards, because there are the masks which add a random element, the influence cards which add another random element to it, I believe that the characters will play very differently on each playthrough. There is a 5th player expansion, so you can add a 5th player to this, which is great. That's the Reaper. We haven't played with that. There's also an exclusive character which is the Thorn Knight, which again has a very different mechanic around it. We are going to add those. We're going to play this 5 player, and we're going to review the Thorn Knight all in the Wave 2 part of Etherfields, and do an overall view of the game from beginning to end when we get that opportunity. But other than that, would you encourage people to go and buy this game?
Definitely. Yeah, it is well worth the investment.
Okay. If we were giving it a mark out of 10, an overall score, for me, this is a 9 out of 10. It is that good.
Yes. Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah. 9 was the first figure that came to my mind. It's yes, definitely.
It's also worth noting, whilst you're playing this game, we are going to put some links to some different bands that you may enjoy listening to whilst playing this game. Dead Can Dance being at the very top of the list. But Cocteau Twins follows shortly after, This Mortal Coil. There's some quite dreamy music, the soundtrack to Dark City. We found playing the game with those sort of music soundtracks in the background really added to the atmosphere of this game. And it's also a game that I really enjoyed playing at night. Which I've not experienced that. Normally we play games whenever, and sometimes some of the Cthulhu games, Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror Mansions, can be good fun late at night. This game, I don't know, perhaps I'm just being a bit strange, but I found it really enjoyable to sit down and play whilst it was dark outside. There you have it. There are our first views and thoughts on Etherfields. There is, of course, a lot more to go through, and we will do that. All we wanted to do is to bring this game to people's attention, to show the quality level of the components, the gameplay, the mechanics. We haven't included any spoilers, so there are parts of the map and parts of the photographs that you will see that are covered over. We're not going to share those because we don't want to ruin the experience for anybody else.
And any of the cards that we have shown are from the tutorial, so there's no spoilers, or they're used as an example in the rulebook, so there's no spoilers there.
Yes. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. If you aren't already, please consider subscribing. We'd like to build up our community. We want to bring more games, review more games. We will be dropping our first Throwback Thursday, which we'll be looking at Acquire. We're going to be filming that shortly. I don't know what we're going to be reviewing next week. We're going to keep that a bit of a secret and decide. Yes, we'll probably decide in the next day or so. But thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you.